Hey folks, this is Mark with OrientWatchUSA.com, and we're taking a look at the Orient Explorer. The SKU for this model is FDH00002B0, and as you can see, it has a power reserve indicator towards the 12 o'clock. It's kind of the hallmark of Orient technologies, isn't it? Now this has dual time, otherwise known as GMT by other companies, but it essentially works the same. It's a second time zone. And over here we have the date. Now the date is a little special here because instead of using just numbers, they're using basically an analog gauge to point. And you can see the logo right around the 3 o'clock index position with automatic inscribed right underneath. And what you're seeing around the case is what they call a slide rule. And a slide rule is basically an analog calculator. It's very hard to explain, but if you use the notches on the inner bezel and match it along with the outer bezel measurements, you can actually get some pretty approximate calculations done. Now, typically you see them on flight watches, but they also included this into this Explorer watch. Now, just so you know, those MPH and KM markers, they're used for actual conversions that I will show you how to do in just a little bit. Just hang tight, and I'll show you how to use it. This is the exhibition case back. Now, the exhibition case back uses glass instead of metal for their case back, which allows you to see right through, which is very, very nice because you have this awesome view of the the movement in general. And also, this is the hairspring, okay? This is basically, or the balance wheel, it is the timing device for your watch. That thing oscillates 6 times per second. Alright, so this is the band. Of course, uses genuine leather, but it's a little difficult to see on this pose, but this one does come with a deployment clasp. Now, deployment clasp lets you set your length of the leather band. You don't adjust that like other buckles, and you deploy the deployment by pressing the 2 push buttons, and lets you release the clasp. So here's another couple of real action type clips over here for the movement going by. So alright folks, so this is the Explorer. Now, in a little bit, I'm going to give you an explanation because there's a lot to talk about with the watch if I can play with the watch in front of me, and I can show you how to toggle the time, the date, as well as the GMT, or sorry, the dual time. And then you can really be comfortable knowing all the functionality of this watch. Just before we go, for now, we're going to show you a loom shot, which is going to show you how well you can see the time at night. Alright folks, just so hang tight, I'll be right back. So now that we're back, we're going to show you how to toggle everything with this watch. But before I do that, I want to show you that this watch is hackable. Hackable means that when you get to the time setting feature of the watch, the second hand stop. The purpose of this function is to allow you to synchronize the watch very, very accurately. So let's go ahead and stop. As an example, let's stop the second hand at 10 seconds, which means I'm going to pull out the crown at approximately 10 seconds right now. Once I pull out the crown, you'll notice that at the 2 index over there, you'll notice that the second hand has indeed stopped. Alright, now to re-engage time, to stop it from hacking, just place it back in, the crown in towards the case, and voila. There you go. Time is right back where it's supposed to be. Now, just like before, we explained that this watch has a power reserve indicator located right around here, this area. It's got a date indication right around here, and it's got the GMT dual time right over here. Let's go ahead and first show you how to adjust the date, which is this location. Notice on the watch there are two crowns, so to speak. Let me bring it up a little. This is the knob that controls the slide rule. This is the actual crown of the movement. This is what you're used to seeing. So let's go ahead and show you how to adjust the date. Now the crown has 2 settings. The first setting allows you to adjust the date as well as the GMT. Second position allows you to adjust time. Now let's take it to the first position. I'm going to rotate. Now I believe it's downwards, and I'm correct. I'm going down this way, folks, okay? If I go down that way, you'll see the date wheel gauge moving. Alright? Notice how the GMT is at 22 and maybe and a third. It's because it's meeting up with the hour, the current minute hand of the watch. So let's just take this watch to 11 o'clock. Sorry. Right around here, you'll notice that on the dual time, it lines now perfectly up with 23. Now let's say, for example, let's just find out where we are, AM, PM. Let's go over noon. So right now we are at 3 a.m. Just for example, 3 a.m., that's one of the time zones that you lived in. But say, for example, your buddy lives around 6 or let's say 6 hours ahead of you, and you want to always know what time it is where your buddy lives. It's 3 a.m. over here. Let's go ahead and add 6 to the dual time. So I'm going to take back to position 1. I'm going to go ahead and go upwards. Remember how for the date I went downwards? For the GMT, I'm going to go upwards. And I'm going to align it to 9. Because that's 6 hours from 3. Okay, once I'm done aligning it, I place it back in. The crown back in. And you'll notice that the GMT does align. And check this out. Once you've set the GMT, if I go ahead and advance time, you'll notice the dual time keeps up with it. So at 6 a.m., it should be noontime, right? Guess what it says, folks? It says noontime right there. Alright, so now that I've shown you how to do the dual time, and I'm showing you how to do the dates, the power reserve indicator, as you can see up here, the power reserve indicator is simply a fuel gauge for your watch. Now this watch runs from a spring, folks, okay? If you take a look back here, there's a little spring back here. Oh, sorry about the focus, but there's a little spring back there that's working this watch. Just so you know, if you saw that the balance wheel wasn't working, it's because I hacked the second hand. But if you look over here, right, now that it says, I'm sorry, this like right in your way. Let me get this hand out the way. You'll notice it says around, I'm thinking 6. Right now, this watch has around 6 hours worth of power in it. That's why the gauge is showing 6. Every hour I don't move this watch, you're gonna see that the gauge is gonna reflect 1 less unit per hour. Alright, so I hope that makes sense. And as you wear the watch, you're going to see that the gauge is going to go towards the 40. And if you take off the watch and it remains stationary, every hour it's going to go down by 1 increment. And I really hope to see you wearing one of these soon.